Thanks everybody for joining. We're excited to deliver our Financial DNA webinar, and we've got a great lineup with you for today. And as we get started, I just wanted to do a couple of housekeeping items. One is the chat is actually enabled, so if you have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat box. There's also a Q&A box there, and towards the end of the presentation, we'll go ahead and answer all of those questions while we're going through it, but if it's worthy, we'll make sure that we cover it for everybody. That's sort of one of the things that we like to do. The other is that you will get a recording of this presentation along with the PDF of the presentation sometime tomorrow. There's also a short survey that'll get dispatched after this webinar today, and we really look forward to having you take the survey, because that really helps us in determining how to run our future webinars. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's introduce our featured DNA behavior team members here. First of all, my name is Leon Morales. I'm the managing director here at the company, and sort of my passion is around sort of unlocking behavior sort of in organizations, whether it's financial services or it's in practice management or organizations. It's really something that I've got a lot of passion around. And I want to also introduce our Chief Technology Officer, Ryan Scott, and Lisa Travis for business development. So between the two of them, they'll do a quick introduction and then we'll get started with the program.
Thanks, Leon. As Leon mentioned, my name is Ryan Scott. I lead all the digital innovation at DNA. So most of my work is around helping firms align behavioral insights that we have in our databases to objectives and business goals that they have on their end. So if there's any questions that you guys have as far as integrations, leveraging our API, or a specific goal or problem that you're trying to solve at your business that relates to behavior, you're welcome to pick our brains at the end in the Q&A section.
Thanks, Ryan. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa, and I'm DNA Behavior's Business Development Analyst. I've been in the company for 3 years now, and I'm focused on bringing the behavioral champions on the financial services industry. So I hope you enjoy the webinar and you get a lot of tips and a pretty good understanding of our topic. Back to you, Leon.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. So as we get started, I just wanted to make sure that, it's been a while since we've had a webinar. Obviously, everybody's been dealing with COVID. It's been an interesting time for us, so we wanted to give you an update on sort of what we've been doing. So our agenda today is really around behavioral finance and COVID times. That's sort of the theme we wanted to present to everyone. And then we really want to cover the power of financial DNA, especially during COVID times, and sort of the things that, a lot of our clients have been discovering sort of in their remote work. And then covering the future of DNA technology, which Ryan will cover. And then we want to save a little bit of time for Q&A. And then for those of you that might be thinking of getting started, we want to make it very easy to get started and make sure that it's easy just to learn a way to work with us. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And again, do encourage you to put questions in the Q&A box or in chat. We'll be monitoring that as we go through this. But Ryan and Lisa and I'll sort of share sort of the presentation today, but you can gear your questions to any of us. So an announcement here, we actually have a new headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. And if those of you that are familiar with Atlanta, we're now in the Buckhead area, which is the business district. We found it much easier for us to work. We have sort of a training center that's in Buckhead, so it just made sense for us to do that. And it's been a great sort of move for us, even though we're all working much more remote, but it does give us the scalability to operate in the Buckhead area. We do expect that our training will resume in person again, starting in 2021. We usually run a spring class, and for our financial DNA or business DNA classes. So those of you that would like to make the journey to Atlanta, you'll be able to see our new training center in 2021. For now, we've really moved to much more of a cohort training remote, and it's been actually wildly successful. We've been probably pleased by it. One of the things this year of moving to much more a web-based financial DNA training. So this gives us the opportunity to not only engage with people around the world, but also to do breakout training using sort of Zoom rooms. It's really worked well. We just are finishing up our business DNA training, accredited training, and our financial DNA training actually starts tomorrow. So never fear, there's another class coming up in November. So if anybody's interested in the training, either contact Lisa or me. We'll be able to provide the details for you. But it's been a really good sort of find for us using the training. So it teaches people pretty easily using the remote training. So just to orient everybody around what we do here at DNA Behavior, a lot of you on the call I know are familiar with us, but I wanted to give you a sort of an overview. The company started back in 2001. And those of you that know Hugh's story, he actually started the company because he was a financial advisor. He worked with client couples, and he was realizing there was a pattern of behavior that he was really confused by, because they would say one thing but then operate very differently when the markets were going down. So he created the Natural Behavior Questionnaire. I partnered with Georgia Tech here in Atlanta. So that's one of the reasons we relocated the headquarters from Sydney, Australia to Atlanta. So we worked sort of this Natural Behavior Questionnaire so we can accurately predict habits of people. We can measure up to 200 insights on somebody's communication, their investing sort of patterns, their work behaviors, and sort of how they live, the things that their needs, are related to their behavior. So it's really pretty remarkable. And we deliver it using our retail version of Financial DNA and our Business DNA program. So we can help firms with sort of the communication, because that's probably the start of where people relationships sort of falter, is on the communication side. So it seems pretty simple, but quite honestly, it's high impact. And then the investing, using Financial DNA with sort of building suitable portfolios for a client or a client couple or a family. And then work behavior, we do a lot of practice management work, and even non-financial services we work with, sort of integrating the behavior, or they use our retail version. And then for live, really around the quality of life perspective. So that gives you the continuum of how we actually work. And we're going to deep dive a little bit more about what we do, sort of giving you sort of our retail version and our API sort of work that we do. But we would like to always present our omni-channel platform. And this might be new for some of the folks on the call, but you can see here there are 5 icons. And the way we work is we can integrate the behavior into any of these sort of icons or platforms. So organization with talent development, leadership behavior, sort of working with individuals. Sort of that's the work that we do with Business DNA. Then the second one is client facing. That's where advisor-client matching, where you're working with a client or a client couple or a family. It really helps the advisor work better with the client, especially in this COVID period. We always say that you can use Financial DNA. You don't even really have to know the person. You don't have to meet with them in person. It gives you the insights to be able to help with unlocking sort of how they like to work in their communication patterns, how they like to think about investing. So it gives you all those tools to be able to do that. And then from a marketing perspective, it really helps sort of hone in on the types of information that a person would need from a marketing perspective. Believe it or not, a one-way communication for marketing doesn't work, but if you're able to customize it based on the insights of these individuals, you can really target that and make it a much more effective marketing campaign. And then planning and investing, building suitable portfolios. If you're using portfolio sort of, with a planning software, you can actually screen pop sort of the behavior and help develop the plan for the client or client couple. And then for compliance, really suitability, because know your client is becoming sort of rigor around the world. The United States is certainly moving in that direction, but it helps the compliance officers have a better compliance program and suitability for working with clients and making sure there's a good match. So those are the 5 key areas that we work with in our omni-channel platform. And we're going to dissect it a little bit more so it's easier to understand from our retail perspective. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can give you a little bit more insight into how financial advisors are using Financial DNA.
Thanks, Leon. So I guess I'm going to start with an article. It's actually a tech article that was recently published by Vanguard. And it said, the pandemic has forever changed the way advising will be done. The pandemic has forever changed the way advising will be done. That means virtual is here to stay. So the question is, how prepared are you? If you are, then kudos to you. Congratulations. You're well ahead of the game. But if you're not, there must be uncertainty and anxiety going on, and that you're not prepared as we transition, or actually we have transitioned already to the new normal. And creating an engagement such as web meetings can be a little challenging, but don't worry, because we're going to help you and we're going to make it easy for you. And how are we going to do that? With customized experiences and web meetings. By creating customized experiences on web meetings, that means when you connect with your clients at the right time, that's just literally agreeing to a preferred day and time to have an online meeting. Here at DNA, we use Zoom, but the most common video conferences are Skype, and you can also use Google Meet. And it's really up to you, as long as there is a mutual understanding about the time and the date. Okay, behaviorally prepared to avoid burnout. This is a perfect scenario wherein you will be able to synchronize your approach to your client's financial goals, and that's with the use of the reports that we generate with Financial DNA. And then with customized follow-ups after the meeting, the insights that that are generated by the report would suggest what your client prefers. Okay, and that will be shown on the next slide. So what you see on this page is the one-page default report. This will guide you on how a client is likely to react to changes in their investment. And this report will provide you a detailed insight on who your client is, or what kind of investor your client is, because it analyzes how your clients actually make decisions. When you look at that, your keys to adopting a plan, in this example, the investor is named Chris Coddington. He is a strategist, which means that this person has his own set of goals, his own strategy. He wants advice, but he doesn't want the advice of the advisor to take over his decision making. And that's because, as a strategist, he wants to be involved in the decision making process. So the keys to adopting a plan is your communication tool on how you're going to make that meeting, very efficient and productive. And I'm talking about the web conference meeting. So the feature on the next slide, another feature of Financial DNA is the DNA Coach Network. I know that we've been rallying over the ease of use of Financial DNA, but you may be someone who is still struggling to, facilitate your own section. This is where the DNA Coach Network comes in, because we have 4 types of services for you. One-on-one support. That means if you need help interpreting a report or preparing for a client meeting, our DNA coaches can help you with insights on how to approach your client. And then we can join you with the client to review the reports together. And that takes about 30 minutes to 60 minutes. Then we have the facilitated team session. In this team session, we can walk the whole team through a DNA report, and then you get to know, engage, and grow your team. With our help, we facilitate it on our 60-minute session. And then we have engaging clients training. This is a 60-minute coaching session. We're going to walk you through on how to engage clients with powerful questions and increase your confidence as a facilitator so you can do it the next time. And then lastly, we have the family behavior discovery. In this session, we help the family members connect with each other on a new level. And then we have the conversations that they need to have to drive succession planning and family continuity. And this is the work that we do with the entire family. You can also join if you want. So that's the coaching session. And then the behavioral, well, actually, one of the benefits that we often see when you use the tool or the program is being able to know that working with someone opposite to you or someone opposite to your profile is going to be very difficult. I'm going to give you an example. Leon is an influencer. I mean, an initiator. I'm an influencer, and Ryan is a reflective thinker. Leon and I can have a very minimal modification working together because we're both fast paced. Whereas if we work with a reflective thinker who is someone's very informative and detailed like Ryan, and we, Leon and I, don't really go much into details, then more modification is required. It just takes a lot of misunderstanding when you don't know the opposite, the opposite partner. Okay, statistics have shown that 70% of client couples are opposites, and that's very common. This is probably one of our differentiating factor when you use the financial DNA, understanding the couple clients. Because if your firm does not have a strategy in place for knowing the financial personality of your couple clients, there's high risk involved that maybe the solution that you're offered will not be understood because of couple differences, and potentially, sad to say, that's losing a client. It really brings the blind spot into people if you use the behavioral finance tool. So the next slide will show you a comparison report. Okay, this is what it looks like. Similar to the financial behavior report, the insights that you will get from the comparison report are the 5 radio buttons, which are the 5 most important insights for a financial advisor to know about his client. And 1, that's if a client is a spender or a saver. 2 is the risk profile. 3rd is how much time are you going to spend? Or for the client's perspective, how much are they going to delegate to this advisor or to you as an advisor? 4th is how likely are they to react to impulses to the financial market? And 5th is wealth creation philosophy, meaning that are they going to be super gracious with their goals? And you might be wondering on the next slide, how does this work? So we continue to improve the platform because right now, for a participant, it takes about 10 minutes to complete the process. And this ultimately saves each person 2 hours of time. So on the other side, the person reviewing, that's you as a financial advisor, you typically spend only 3 minutes reviewing the insights or the report that's generated. And that saves you an additional 2 hours as well, instead of, having 2 to 3 meetings just to know your client. I guess the point is knowing a person's DNA, it really speeds up the getting to know you period and saves time for everyone. Okay, so on the next slide, the DNA insights makes meetings more efficient and you get to know your clients better. Among the other attributes that you can get from using the financial DNA report is your client communication preferences. This is where we can flag if your client prefers receiving emails or phone calls, or maybe in the pre-COVID world, we can flag if your client prefers a steak dinner or someone who goes to an NFL game. Second is the risk behavior. After an investor goes through the process, we have the insights that can benchmark you into 1 to 7 risk profile, and that's based on the ESMA standard. So we bucket it as an aggressive investor and a conservative investor. And lastly, the decision-making skills. This is all about how people make choices under conditions of uncertainty and pressure. This is where the behavioral biases kicks in. It can be predicted when it's revealed. That means if it's revealed, then you as a financial advisor can manage it. And last but not the least, market mood. This is a favorite among financial advisors. It's a favorite feature. It's where aligning a person's behavior on a real-time basis to the stock market is. Stock market investment. It shows you how to communicate based on your client profile and on a day-to-day basis, how financial advisors use this is they log in. Since it's a real-time dashboard tied to the S&P 500, it updates itself every day. And financial advisors just use the script on the right portion of the screen, and then they follow a specific script to a specific client. It's not that you call your clients every day, but look for the ones that are on the red emojis, because these are the clients that might need a talk, to reduce anxiety. They are the clients that are very fearful as how the market is going. And I guess that's it. Ryan will talk about the Financial DNA API.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, as Lisa and Leon were mentioning, we're going to be upgrading Financial DNA's technology, and we have been for the past year dramatically. So there's some things that we'd like to share with you, and we'd also like to provide a roadmap for really where we're going with Financial DNA. Some of the upgrades we have some planned, and some of the integrations as well. So without further ado, we'll show you this high-level roadmap. It outlines the future of Financial DNA technology. What do we have planned going forward, and what are we going to be delivering to advisors? The first is something really excited, something I'm particularly really excited about, and that is we are going to be enabling APIs for our subscription clients. So if you have one of the standard subscriptions that you've purchased off of our website, coming soon in the next few months, we're going to be enabling our APIs for that. So you'll be able to interact with some of that data without it being on the report or within the DNA behavior screens. Some specific things that advisors are really excited about that we've shared this with so far is the risk score. So we have an API call that robo-advisor kind of apps have been leveraging for the past few years, and it demonstrates what the 0 to 100 risk score is for a particular client, which risk group they're in, as well as key information that we have in our system, such as the behavioral biases, the communication style, and it goes on and on and on. So we have 200 different insights for every single person that's completed natural behavior. And those particular insights can be drawn on so that you can create customized experiences or automate processes with your tech tools. So for firms that are more DIY, you can leverage our API. For other firms that want to use one of our out-of-the-box integrations, we have some other stuff planned for that we're really excited about. We're also working on new dashboards to present DNA insights. So I'll show you some screens in a moment of what we're working on with that. We're doing some user-based testing right now where we're trying to interact with we're trying to identify what key information and insights are advisors using the most, and what do they want to see on their screen first. And we're working on some pretty interesting technology with that. And lastly, our marketing team is working very, very hard on a ton of behavioral insight guides. So if you've been recently following us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, you've seen that we have behavioral guides for advisors on many, many different things. So there's been some interesting things on how to manage backseat driver clients, managing clients during COVID, what trends we're seeing in behavioral finance in 2020, and we have a new one coming out in 2021. So if you have not seen any of those guides, make sure to follow us on either Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and you'll get access to those. And we'll be continuing that for the next year. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback and a lot of interest there. So it's definitely something that we're going to be exploring more. We get a lot of questions on integrations, so we actually can announce officially on this call, you guys are the first to hear, that we have 6 integrations that are coming soon. We're going to be releasing those in 2 phases. The first phase is going to be Redtail, Salesforce, and Wealthbox. So we're going to be integrating those with the Financial DNA retail packages. So if you wish to just use an out-of-the-box integration, you can leverage those. And then we also have, in a phase 2 block, we have three very strategic key integrations that we're planning. We just can't announce those just yet, but there's three that we are very excited to be announced. And if you would like to be the first to know, you can follow us again on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and we're going to be releasing it to the public there first. Now, the past few months, we've done a ton of work with our UX team, who has launched a completely new investor experience. So if you've been using Financial DNA for a few years, you'll know that we've transitioned the investor process so that they're all leveraging this self-registration link. So it's a link that you can put on your website. So it's very easy for investors to complete the process immediately on your website or in your email signature. We have now revamped that process. So we haven't replaced the old process that's still available. It's just the natural behavior self-registration process. But we released this new app called the Investor Experience that's available for all of our Financial DNA retail customers. As you can see here, it's a little animation that shows how it works. It's by far the fastest process that we've delivered. It's quite cool the way that it's all put together. It works on any device. It works on a iPad, desktop, laptop, phone, you name it. We've made it so it's fully responsive. It's super fast, so we're trending under 10 minutes now for people to complete profiles, and we're working on ways to speed it up. And again, that's a one-time investment of 10 minutes. The clients don't have to retake Financial DNA year after year or 6 months like other risk profiles. The other thing that's really exciting about this is that if you're curious about our API and how it works, we've actually built this entire app end-to-end off of our API. So we have a standard development kit that your firm can leverage if you want to provide a customized experience. We've actually used our own kit to build this app for advisors to use. So it can be co-branded. You also can customize what insights you want at the end. So you'll see on that dashboard, there's quite a few insights where we have some videos, some insights on market mood, the 5 dials, strength, struggles, and performance environment keys for clients. You can turn on and off which elements you want to demonstrate to the clients. And then also we have a cool new feature we just launched where you can actually customize the legal and terms and conditions text in the bottom of the screen. Again, it can also be co-branded like the other tools that we have. So if you want to apply your logo, that's definitely something that's available there. I mentioned earlier that we're going to be releasing some new dashboards. These are what they look like. We are super excited about this, and I've been using this internally to do some in-depth kind of analysis of our team. The way that we've developed this is that you can see the insights for one or many people that you select immediately once you check off their name. So it's an interactive, very fast, engaging comparison and team report, as well as being able to see individual insights. So we're going to be releasing this to the public in a few months. Right now we're in the beta testing phase, so I don't have a specific hard date for this. And if you're particularly interested in any of these options I just described, such as the API, the integrations, or these dashboards, what we're going to be doing is we're going to grandfather in everybody that has a current Financial DNA package. We might adapt some of the packages once we relaunch these to adjust some of the pricing and terms based on the amount of value that we're providing. If you want to get locked in now, we're going to be grandfathering in everybody that gets a package today before these are available. So if it's something that you're interested in now, make sure that you sign up for it. And to give you a specific, we're going to be releasing the API and the dashboards for everybody that has access to the financial planning intro package, the behavioral finance package, and the wealth mentor package. So if you have any questions on those, feel free to reach out to us and ask a question. And while we're talking about questions, I know we've gotten a few that are in the question box. So we'll just pause here for Q&A section.
Yep. Thank you, Ryan. Great job. And if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A box. We've got a couple here. One is, and probably this is really more for Lisa and for me, but the question came up when I covered the cohort training, and it relates to that. Is Financial DNA easy to learn, or do you have to actually go through that in-depth training? And the question for that is that we have about 10% of our clients that actually go through training, any element of training. We make the self-directed training as part of the package setup. So it's all driven sort of into DIY And so 90% of our clients actually use sort of the DIY training. They do it pretty easily. And our guidance is always to use it with 5 friends and family, because you know their behavior so well that when you go through it, it literally teaches you the behavioral finance elements that you need. So you don't have to really learn about the behavioral biases and all of that. So it becomes very easy to learn. Lisa, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, in relation to that, we do have the unlocking guide. It's a guide to the 10 natural behaviors. So as soon as you have your 5 family and friends take it, you can just refer to the guide, and that's the easiest way for you to learn.
And I'll just jump in there real quick. I just want to show a specific to that. I'm going to be showing a wrong slide. Jump to this slide. So I just wanted to show, this is more from a technical or technology basis. What we've tried to do is, when Hugh started our business, he always had the dream or the vision that behavior could be transformative for financial services, but only if it's super easy and practical to provide those insights. So we have 200 different insights, but we distill everything down so advisors just have the right information to present to the clients at the right time. So you'll notice on this particular report, what we're showing is basically everything that you need to know about the client is shown on the screen in this particular report. So it's very simple. We have advisors that don't go through any training at all, and because they're just using this report as a primary report, they literally can just walk the client through it one-on-one. There's some information, describing the client, and then what it means. So there's like risk score, there's a number here, and it also, we're demonstrating what it actually means if someone is a high or low risk score. So the reports are very self-explanatory, but we do have some, online training that comes free with all the packages. And if you are the type of person like myself that are a little bit more information oriented, or if you have some in-depth use cases, that's whenever you could come to our in-person training. If you really want to become an expert on this, or if you want to be a center of excellence at your firm, that we have some firms that will elect one person to go through the training, and they're the master, if you want to call it that, of financial DNA at their firm.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. That's great. And then the second question that came in was related to, if I wanted to get started, because it seems like there's a lot of options, what's the easiest way to get started? And my recommendation, there's 2 of them. One is, Lisa demonstrated the coach network. So even if you're not wanting to get into a package, you can go through the coach network, have sort of a DNA consultant to actually walk you through a report, getting to know it. That's something that's we launched earlier this year, and it's been a great enabler. So advisors that aren't comfortable actually doing reviews with their clients, if they wanted to, they can outsource it to DNA Behavior. So that's one way to do it. The other way is to actually get started in a retail package, because Ryan and Lisa both have covered that. It's very easy to get started. When we open it up for the API enablement later this year, that'll give you even more options. But it's a great way to learn it. And as I mentioned, the 5 friends and family using it with that, it just really shows the ease of use of starting with a package. And you can sort of upgrade or downgrade depending on sort of what your needs are for your business. So I think it's easy to get started. And if you want any more details on that, you can contact either Lisa or me, because we do actually have an email that'll go out tomorrow with the presentation, and then a call to action if you want to actually schedule a meeting with any of us. With that, anything to add to that, Lisa?
Yeah, we'll discuss the pricing in the next slide, I think.
Okay. I got a next question here. What trends are you seeing with clients' risks, appetite changing during COVID? Great question. So one of the things that we've talked about is this idea of natural behavior. So that's really important to know, especially when there's volatility in the market. So when an advisor actually helps a client choose their investment portfolio, we recommend using the ESMA standard that Lisa mentioned, the group 1 through 7, sort of place your clients, really understanding what risk that they're in, because they're not going to have sort of a reaction if they're in that right group. when you select that portfolio. And then you can use tools like market mood to help that client if there's volatility in the market, sort of what types of conversations to have with which clients. Because that's one thing we do know, a lot of advisors are apprehensive about reaching out to their clients when there's a lot of volatility in the market. And that's where market mood can be quite the enabler to be able to just look at it and you know exactly what type of conversation to have with that client. So that's one of the things that have definitely many advisors have used. And Ryan and Lisa, I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. Nope. All right. And then the last question I have here is, how can I get the integrations you mentioned? And I'm going to let Ryan cover that question. If you don't mind, Ryan?
Yep, good question. So I will answer part of that in this slide, and then the next slide, whenever we go over the different package options and how to get started, it will make a little bit more sense. Is that the last question that we had, Leon?
It is for right now, Ryan.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Yeah, so you can all, if anybody has any additional questions, just feel free to just kind of pop them into that box and we'll just answer them kind of fluidly at the end here. So essentially, everybody that signs up now, you'll get into specific packages, and I'll point them out on the next slide. You will get grandfathered into the integrations that we offer. So I'm showing the screen here. This is what the pricing page looks like. So if you have the financial planning intro package, which is the second one from the right, or the financial DNA behavioral finance package, those will both be enabled for any of the integrations that we're offering. In addition, we have an additional package called the wealth mentoring package, which is kind of our upgraded version of the behavioral finance package. That one, of course, does also get the integrations. So if you have the two top packages that are on the screen, those will be grandfathered into the integration with the integrations. If you're not sure about where you want to be with your organization, you can always upgrade later. So you can start in any of the packages, and as long as you have one of the top two packages, whenever we release the integration, you'll be good to go. And we will be sending out some key announcements via email, but also on our socials, so that you'll be the first to know whenever it's available, and we will give instructions on how to set it up. If you are interested in our API, that's going to be a little bit different. So if you just reach out to either Leon or Lisa, we'll share their information at the end. We can talk about the options for actually how you can get started today with the API, and we do offer an API trial.
All right. We do have one other question that came in, and it's probably more for you. It's product development, Ryan, but are we planning to do any improvements in the learned behavior reports as we did for natural behavior? And I guess that means on the experience side.
Yeah, so with learned behavior, we did do a back-end update, which many of you may not have quite noticed because we did it kind of behind the scenes, so it would be very seamless, is that when we released the 5-dial report for financial behavior and the financial behavior comparison report, we updated the learned behavior report so it all aligns. We are looking at ways that we can upgrade the experience for learned behavior so it's more consistent with this new design that I'm flashing up now. But that's going to come a little bit later. We're really focusing on mass market adoption kind of features right now. So a recent poll just came out. So 56% of advisors see behavioral finance as the next transformative technology for our industry. But around 30% of advisors haven't identified the right tool for themselves yet. So what we are doing is we're trying to build as many tools and apps as possible so that firms can use it very easily and that it's very user-friendly. So we're focusing on that, and then we're going to build onto it from natural behavior as we go along. And we got some additional feedback. It looks like someone mentioned that natural behavior now seems more friendly and easy to use with emoticons. Yeah, so thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. We've done a ton of work internally to make this as easy to use as possible. There's still a long ways to go, but we are quite excited, and we've gotten some really good feedback on the overall user experience.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan. And with that, I know we try to keep our webinars about 40-45 minutes, so I don't see any additional questions. So I'm going to let Lisa cover sort of how to get started.
Thanks, Leon. So although I see a couple of existing users here, but if you are still looking for a tool that you can use for, behavioral finance, if you want your clients to have a positive experience virtually, and if you're an advisor who's looking for a less stressful client engagement, you can sign up by clicking on the buy now. And we, like Ryan said, we always recommend the two highest package. You can downgrade or upgrade anytime. There is a promo code which will give you $100 off. So when you click buy now, go to financialdna.com, click buy now, and before you check out, just enter the promo code accelerate. And that will be given to you as well in the email that I'm going to send today or tomorrow. The promo code is accelerate, and it doesn't matter if it's all caps or not. And you just have to enter that, and before you check out, you're going to get $100 off, and then you'll be up and running in minutes. And just don't forget your company logo, because you'll be asked to upload it.
All right.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate the information. For all of you that have joined, we really appreciate sort of checking in with us. And some of you that are new, I know there's a number of people that are new to DNA behavior. We welcome the feedback. That survey will be sent out just after 12 o'clock Eastern time. And that feedback really is used for us to develop future content webinars, but also the feedback for product development. So we really look at that. We continuously look for feedback. So appreciate that. We look forward to hearing you on a future webinar, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Stay safe, and appreciate all of your help and your support. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Lisa. Have a great day.